Calculating the electrical load for Condotel units, which are singly owned condominiums but not meeting the definition of a dwelling unit, requires a different approach than for typical residential dwellings. Because these units do not qualify as dwelling units, the demand factors for household appliances specified in NEC Table 220.83 do not apply. For hotel units, a demand factor of 100% is often required for all appliances, as per NEC Section 220.43a. However, for Condotel units, the National Electrical Code doesn't provide a specific demand factor. It is reasonable to apply a demand factor that considers the likelihood of simultaneous appliance use. The International Building Code, or IC, provides guidance on demand factors for non-residential buildings, including hotels, which can be a helpful reference. The IBC suggests these demand factors for non-residential buildings. Firstly, for the first 48 kVA of load, the demand factor is 100%. Secondly, for the next 48 kVA, the demand factor is 75%. Thirdly, for the remaining load, the demand factor is 65%. Based on the IBC guidance, here's a recommended approach you can take. Firstly, for the first 48 units, use a demand factor of 100%. Secondly, for any additional units beyond 48, use a demand factor of 75%. This approach accounts for the reduced probability of simultaneous appliance use in Condotel units compared to typical dwelling units. Here is an example calculation. Imagine each Condotel unit has these appliance loads. Firstly, a refrigerator at 1 kW, secondly, a microwave at 1 kW, thirdly, a dishwasher at 1.2 kW, and fourthly, a washer and dryer at 2 kW. For the first 48 units, the total load is calculated as 48 units multiplied by the sum of the individual appliance loads, which is 1 kW plus 1 kW plus 1.2 kW plus 2 kW. This equals 249.6 kW. Therefore, the demand load is 249.6 kW multiplied by 100%, which is 249.6 kW. For any additional units beyond 48, the total load is calculated as 48 plus x, where x is the number of additional units multiplied by the sum of the appliance loads per unit, which is 1 kW plus 1 kW plus 1.2 kW plus 2 kW. The demand load is then calculated as the total load, which is 48 plus x multiplied by the sum of the appliance loads multiplied by 75%. By applying a demand factor, you reduce the total load on the distribution feeder compared to using a 100% demand factor. However, it is important to note that this approach is based on the IBC guidelines for non-residential buildings and may not be applicable in all jurisdictions. Always consult with your local building department or electrical inspector for any specific requirements. Demand factors play a crucial role in determining the appropriate size of electrical infrastructure. Firstly, understanding demand factors helps in accurately estimating the actual load a system will experience. Secondly, applying suitable demand factors can prevent oversizing equipment, which leads to cost savings. Thirdly, proper application of demand factors ensures that the electrical system operates safely and efficiently. When dealing with Condotel units, one must move away from the residential mindset. Firstly, residential demand factors are tailored for single-family homes or apartments. Secondly, Condotels, while individually owned, operate more like hotel rooms. Thirdly, this distinction requires a careful evaluation of appliance usage patterns. When estimating the load for Condotel units, consider these appliances. Firstly, refrigerators are generally considered continuous loads. Secondly, microwaves have short, intermittent usage patterns. Thirdly, dishwashers and washer-dryers are used less frequently than in typical residences. The choice of demand factor depends on the specific characteristics of the Condotel units. Firstly, consider the target clientele. Are they short-term vacationers or long-term residents? Secondly, analyze the rental pool program. How often are the units occupied? Thirdly, evaluate any restrictions on appliance usage that may exist. The NEC provides guidelines for various types of occupancies, which can serve as a starting point. Firstly, refer to Article 220 for general calculation methods. Secondly, look at sections related to hotels and motels for relevant insights. Thirdly, remember that Condotels fall somewhere between residential and commercial. In addition to the NEC, the IBC offers valuable guidance on demand factors for non-residential buildings. Firstly, consult Chapter 27 for electrical requirements. Secondly, examine tables that provide demand factors for different types of loads. Thirdly, these tables can help you justify your chosen demand factor to local authorities. When dealing with jurisdictions, documenting your assumptions and calculations is critical. Firstly, provide a detailed explanation of your methodology. Secondly, cite the specific codes and standards you are referencing. Thirdly, be prepared to defend your approach with data and reasoning. Engaging with the local building department early in the process can prevent issues down the road. Firstly, schedule a meeting to discuss your project. Secondly, present your proposed load calculations and demand factors. Thirdly, address any concerns or questions they may have. Working collaboratively with the authorities ensures compliance and a smooth project approval process. Consider the diversity of appliances typically found in Condotel units. Firstly, small appliances like coffee makers and toasters can add to the overall load. Secondly, entertainment devices such as televisions and gaming consoles also contribute. Thirdly, consider the increasing use of personal electronic devices and their charging needs. When assessing the total load, don't forget about lighting. Firstly, LED lighting is becoming increasingly common due to its energy efficiency. Secondly, lighting controls such as occupancy sensors can further reduce energy consumption. Thirdly, ensure that your lighting design meets the required illumination levels. Safety is paramount when designing electrical systems for Condotel units. Firstly, ground fault circuit interrupters, or GFCIs, are required in wet locations like bathrooms and kitchens. Secondly, arc fault circuit interrupters, RFCIs, provide protection against electrical fires. Thirdly, ensure that all wiring and devices are properly rated for the intended use. Periodic inspections and maintenance are essential for ensuring the long-term reliability of the electrical system. Firstly, schedule regular inspections by qualified electricians. Secondly, address any issues promptly to prevent further damage. Thirdly, keep detailed records of all maintenance activities. Energy efficiency is becoming increasingly important in building design. Firstly, consider using energy-efficient appliances and equipment. Secondly, implement strategies to reduce energy consumption. Thirdly, these measures can lower operating costs and enhance the value of the property. In conclusion, calculating electrical loads for Condotel units requires careful analysis and a thoughtful approach. Firstly, understand the unique characteristics of Condotels. Secondly, apply appropriate demand factors based on industry standards. Thirdly, consult with local authorities to ensure compliance. By following these guidelines, you can design a safe, efficient, and reliable electrical system for your Condotel project.